Nice.
Awesome. So our mission is to make it easy for small landholders to get incentives for their carbon offset and to serve the community against runaway like climate change. And our vision is to make a global economy and the banking finance system to shift rapidly towards 100% green, which would enable the transition to a fully regenerative economy. So with Earthbanc, we brought together aspects like community resilience, regenerative work, unique financial instruments, which will help us to incentivize work. And we use satellite technology and AI to verify regenerative and carbon sequestration work. So yeah, does this not work? Why, what is happening? Yeah. So to avoid carbon runaway challenge, we need to draw down 300 gigatons of carbon in 10 years, actually less than 10 years now, by 2030. So the business and governments, they have made pledges to draw the carbon down, and the capital is flowing into carbon markets at the moment. But the carbon markets are not scaling fast enough to draw down 300 gigatons of carbon. To give you a rough estimate, that would be 10 times emissions of China. So the call to action for the context of this presentation, other than the financial aspect, is that today we live in a world where climate change is the background context to the big problems that we're already facing, and it is accelerating and amplifying our existing problems. We therefore need to accelerate and amplify our strategies for increasing social impact. Climate change affects all of us, but it disproportionately affects the world's most vulnerable people first. And those are often the people who haven't contributed really to climate change. And also they are in the best position to restore the existing climate crisis. Also, Earthbanc is driven by a social justice imperative, so just as much as an environmental one. So we exist to stop climate change. A huge part of the mission is delivering safe and stable livelihoods to those communities who are greatest in need at the moment. And as I said, who often are in the best position to restore nature and our planet to balance, like everything, health, climate crisis, all of these. So today I'd like to share a bit about our solution to both climate change and social inequality. And I'll also share a case study or a use case that we have been working on for the past couple of years, and how we bring technology and finance together to create a lasting social impact. So one of the biggest issues is in solving climate change is that it's very difficult to fund nature-based solutions. And these are the solutions that would work both for people and the planet. Because the problem is why it's difficult to fund is that it's scattered all across the globe. They're like small in nature, and they're happening in different countries and at different scales. So it's very difficult to find ways to properly fund and incentivize these regenerative projects to scale quickly enough to lift people out of poverty and at the same time solve climate change while we have time, like in this required time frame by 2030. So the current process of carbon verification is manual, expensive, exclusionary, and unreliable. So currently verifiers have to conduct a site visit and with a measuring tape, as you can see in the first image, where they measure the trees and they measure a small sample size and then they extrapolate it over the entire large area, which makes it kind of unreliable as well. It's expensive as they have to fly a team of people from USA to somewhere in Africa. Let's take, for example, Ghana or Burkina Faso, somewhere. And then this is time consuming and manual method, it's extremely expensive. So it's so expensive that the minimum land size needs to be 1,200 acres for this whole process to take place. So it excludes 50% of small landholders at the point. So they can't get benefits for their carbon at at this point, and they are excluded out of this whole carbon finance market. It's exclusionary, as I just mentioned. And today's verification process is not only primitive and expensive, they're also like exclusionary to these millions of landholders all over the world who could be incentivized for, the regenerative agriculture, no-till farming, which are all sustainable ways. And we need to solve this. And it's also unreliable because projects are verified in very small samples, and then the carbon credits are being sold on the market. They're often fraudulent, faulty. Carbon credits being sold in the market, like they could be exposed to forest fires, disease, or like deforestation. And these are often conducted once in every 3 years, often. So you don't know, like a lot can change within 3 years. So as a result, people sometimes don't trust carbon offsetting as a necessary part of the solution to climate change. So we offer a three-stack vertically integrated product solution to banks and corporates. So innovative carbon MRV, which is monitoring, reporting, and verification, is at the core of our solutions. We fix problems in different MRV practices through our proprietary technology. The second is carbon marketplace. So it's not just like enough to more efficiently and accurately verify our products or our planet's store of carbon. We also need to bring it to a market where we can incentivize it and provide it in a more accessible way. So we do this through our carbon marketplace. And finally, we restore trust, transparency, and credibility to carbon credits through our real-time audited carbon offset service. So I'll share about these three aspects in a little more details. So first is our innovative carbon monitoring service. I hope you guys can see my screen. So using satellite images and a proprietary deep learning models, we provide a much better carbon monitoring service. So as I mentioned initially, that right now it needs to be 1,200 acres for this whole MRV monitoring, reporting, verification service to be profitable. By our method or our proposed solution, we could do it for a land as small as 0.06 acres. So there's like an 18,000-fold efficiency in compared to current standards. And we do this by removing the requirement of expensive ground truthing. Our innovation also measures and monitors biodiversity and climate adaptation benefits that help to raise the profile and confidence in the power of nature-based solutions. So using our satellite imagery and proprietary deep learning models, as I said, which is 18,000-fold more efficient, we use supervised deep learning, convolutional neural networks in order to count and pinpoint each tree on the ground. And we have a partnership with ESA, the European Space Agency, and we get access to satellite images through that. And we also use that data with a combination of some open source data from Google Satellite or Sentinel-2, based on what purpose we are using it for. So we use basically a combination of these two data. And we're working on making our models more robust each and every day by using data from LiDAR data or data from drones, etc. So our innovation, basically empowers and tries to restore trust in the nature-based solutions. So Earthbanc developed its own innovative blockchain payment technology in a European Central Bank blockchain fintech sandbox, including issuance of green bonds for carbon NBS, like nature-based solution projects. So we incentivize forest and ecosystem protection by sharing the revenue 50-50 with the people we work with on the ground who plant trees for us and who take care of these trees. Because in a lot of cases, we have noticed that people plant trees, and just because they're not getting incentivized for those like technologies or for those like plantation of the trees, they often cut those trees that they have planted and sell them for money because they need to put food on their table, right? So we like every we have been sharing this revenue 50% with them, whatever revenue we generate, so that they can also keep their like life going on. And this often in most cases helps them a lot, like it's almost makes their income 1.5 times better. So yeah, and a deep tech MRV enables high impact and nature-based solutions, as we have proven. And I'll also share a use case about it, which helps us to scale up the smallholders with carbon payments on innovative problem payment rails and with fast delivery directly to smallholders. So Earthbanc app has been working towards reporting by project participants, enable social and economic and ecological indicators, and that can be improved daily. Like we improve it rapidly, and we have been enabling carbon nature-based solution programs to be more precise in delivering and achieving deeper impact. We help automate the payment system for microfinance in India, and where we are able to monitor both monitor and pay the members for this microfinance institution for conserving and planting trees. Especially crucial in the pandemic, as there was a strict lockdown in India for, I don't know, like last year for a couple of months and this year for 3-4 months. And digital payments allowed those people to continue doing their transactions. So we also have an Earthbanc Exchange uh, service, which is a carbon marketplace, and it offers landowners to sell uh, their carbon and place an order for businesses of all size and types to make the currently unavoidable carbon, like offset their unavoidable carbon emissions with an extra layer of trust from our Earthbanc MRV, which is used which comes from the AI MRV technology. So yeah, so what makes Earthbanc Exchange better, right? So it's real time and it's immediate. And so, yeah, we verify the increase in carbon, and we capture and store it in the forest landscape, like almost real time. And it's more inclusionary. So every landowner can participate, even small landowners who represent over 1.182 billion hectares of forest land across Europe, Nordics, Baltics region, and Eastern Europe can now get paid for their carbon. And it's efficient by including all the landowners. ECX identifies the lowest cost additional carbon on the landscape. So the next is like businesses can offset their carbon by accessing audited projects via API and utilize bespoke services to audit their chosen carbon offsets for new or old forest and agriculture of carbon credits. We report on fire and clear felling activities since the last audit, which can be sometimes many years old. So we basically ensure that the carbon credits are real, and we add a layer of transparency to whatever is happening already. So Earthbanc audits the total amount of carbon in the credits, and we ensure that the net zero claims are accurate and precise. We provide a rating and quantify if there is more or less carbon than claimed in the credits. So I would also like to show the SDGs that we are working towards. So we currently work towards 7 SDGs, and our most important focus is climate action and also, we work towards gender equality as we are currently working in India, in Ghana, Kenya, Burkina Faso, in Peru, and in Costa Rica. So, and we just started a project in Sweden. So we make sure that at least 50% of the people who are working with in the community are women. So we make sure that there's like gender equality that's maintained all the way, and we support like people from all the communities and ethnicity and beliefs, sexual orientation to be a part of our project. And we obviously have a clear focus on climate change.
We have 2 minutes left. Thanks.
Oh, okay. So I can take the questions now.
Thanks a lot. In the chat area, I don't see questions, though I asked if somebody has a question, can you please type it or raise hand that we can give you a microphone?
Yeah. Otherwise, I can just continue or I can just say something.
So just Wahidul Islam is writing that it was, thank you for great content, very inspiring. So you have 1 minute to just close it, please. Thanks a lot. Finalize.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have like submitted patent and like we have a proprietary technology, and we have, and I actually have a good news that I can share with you guys. So we were working with MasterCard on a pilot, and we won out of like 17 startups. We won the MasterCard Finitive program, and that just happened yesterday, and we announced it today on LinkedIn. So we're pretty happy and excited about that. And if you guys want to know more about Earthbanc, or if you're interested in the services or AI technology or anything, you can contact me on LinkedIn through my email. My name is Smriti Mishra, and that's my LinkedIn. So yeah, so I'll be happy to see some of you there, hopefully. And thank you so much for organizing this event and having me here.
Thanks a lot.